you mind if I eat during this?
I don't care.
Yeah. I just got food delivered and it was bad timing, but I'm looking hungry, so.
This is an important information that you're typing.
Yeah. Actually, maybe I won't. Nothing pisses me off more than the sound of people chewing. So I can't imagine somebody like in my mic just fucking chewing rice. All right, I'll save that for later.
I was thinking that might be a problem, but I assumed you might like at least keep it away from the mic or something.
No, I can't do anything about it. My mic's right in my face. All right.
Okay. Well, I think you know how it's gonna go. I expanded the questionnaire. I'm just gonna ask you all the things I didn't ask you last time.
Okay.
But first of all, how are you doing?
What? Sorry.
How are you doing?
Fine. All right. How are you?
I don't know. I'm okay. I'm not in that state of mind for social situations. I didn't prepare for this. But
yeah, I'm all right to skip the small talk. I figured you are too.
Okay. Yeah. Most of the reason I put that, I explicitly put that question there because otherwise I would very abruptly jump into the questions, and I think it was throwing people off. But that just happened anyway. I asked you before, have you been diagnosed with, or do you suspect you have any mental conditions, or any different mood than usual, etc.? Has anything pertaining to that changed since last time?
No.
Okay. I forgot your original answer, so sorry. But I think we should be fine. I don't think there was anything that majorly stood out. How old are you? I feel like you told me that, but I feel like I also forgot.
How old am I? So I don't think I've told you. 24. 24.
Yeah, I would have guessed something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Yeah. Okay. If you found out that a friend you valued and respected was a neo-Nazi or some other ideology you take serious issue with, how would you feel? What would you do?
That would surprise me because I think, like I mentioned in our last interview, that I find myself, or I judge myself as a pretty decent judger of character in people. So it would just be so. Because I maybe have between 10 to 20 people I would consider like friends, and I think I know them pretty well. So that would be so outside of how I view who they are. It would just be shocking. I'd think it was a joke at first. I would just try to. I would just convince them the other way. Yeah, you're wrong. Don't be a neo-Nazi, you fucking idiot. I would just assume that they had this huge lapse in judgment and just try to recorrect that. Because I'm pretty confident in the I don't know, morals of my friends, that they align with mine, I guess. Yeah, I would just be, yeah.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. I would try to change their mind. I wouldn't listen. I wouldn't give them the floor to defend themselves. I'm not interested in why they think that's okay.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask a few things about your hobbies. Do you think for those for maybe the three people who are watching who didn't watch the last one, you could give a very quick recap of what those are to give some context to what I'm about to ask?
My hobbies?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be detailed, but just for basic context.
Yeah, I think I kind of settled. I just gave a few current examples, and that like recently I've just been into socionics. I've been reading, and I've been playing piano. Those are things I could probably identify as hobbies. And I did mention that I don't really like defining things as hobbies because I don't want those to like be integrated into some like core part of who I am. Like I don't want to be tied down to these hobbies because I don't know, I could just
You
stop
did say that.
doing one of them. Yeah, like I don't want to feel like I'm losing a part of myself or something because I decide that I don't want to kind of engage with this hobby anymore.
Feels kind of like I think somewhat pretentious from other perspectives, like a thing that Harvard does where they call it a concentration instead of a major. I somehow get like a similar vibe.
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Um, do you wish that the things that you are currently focusing on, you see, I'm avoiding I'm avoiding the terminology that were different.
You can use the word. That's just something that comes to mind because I've thought about it before. Because that's such a common question. Like, oh, what are your hobbies? And it just it feels too personal. Like I don't personalize with these things that I do that much.
No, you're going to be deeply offended if I say the word again.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna shut down the stream. Leave the server. Never talk to me again. Goodbye. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead.
Did you hear the question that I asked?
Sorry, I don't even think I let you finish. My bad.
It's fine. I basically asked if you wish that your interests were different than what they currently are.
I mean, if I wish they were different, wouldn't I just like have that interest? Like, I mean, I'm sure there was like a point, maybe like a day, where I was like, I wish I could play music. So then I started playing piano, and then I didn't wish anymore because it was reality. So I don't. I mean, maybe really. Sometimes I wish that I had different hobbies, but then or interests, and then I just engage in those interests if I wish it. Yeah.
It's like really 50-50 as to whether I like want to ask that question because like some of the people I ask think it makes total sense, and other people are really confused by it, like you. And that's actually a like pretty big determinant, but it's also like to get that information, I have to deal with this like bewilderment from some of the people that I asked the question to.
I can see how that could be a tell of something, though. Yeah, it's a good question, actually.
Yeah, some people just don't have the willpower.
R.I.P.
Okay, 1 second.
Although, some like hobbies might have these really big barriers to entry. I didn't really think of that. Where it would make sense to like maybe I wished I collected sports cars, but I have nowhere near enough money to do that. So
yeah. Sorry, I was taping.
I don't worry about it. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that just came to mind.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, like even with other interests, they'll want to do that thing, but they won't just because of the effort that it takes to enter that hobby. Basically, just because they're lazy or don't have the willpower. So that's kind of what I'm gauging for. But that is definitely also something that I should take into account. How often do you acquire new hobbies, interests, foci, etc.? How long do they typically last?
I wouldn't say it's often, and there's not. Maybe there's two things that determines how long they last. One is if I just like it in general, and then two is if it's like, I mean, I've tried to get into hobbies and I've realized that it's a bit too time consuming for what I want to be doing, like in that maybe area of my life. So I kind of put it on the back burner, but it's definitely still there in the back of my mind. And then some I just try and just don't like at all. And then some stick because I like it and it's also something that I want to be doing. But yeah, so the first part, not often do I get new hobbies or interests. And then how long they last, it just varies.
Okay. That makes sense. I don't know if I asked you this, even though I'm fairly sure it wasn't on the questionnaire at the time, but what do you think that you're worst at?
I think that's a very, like the one thing that I'm worst at. That's really hard to answer because it's hard. I'll just list off some weaknesses maybe.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't intending for it to be exclusively one thing. It can just be your weakness.
Yeah.
Please tell everyone. Please tell the public why you're awful.
Actually, can I phone a friend on this one? I think an external.
I'll just have the chat hate on you.
Yeah. What am I worst at? Or like a very consistent weakness.
I have another question now that's based on this, but I'll wait until your answer to ask.
Sorry, you broke up. What?
Oh, I said I have another question, but I'll wait until your answer.
Okay.
To ask that one. I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, I think getting like external feedback on weaknesses is the most honest because, I think our egos don't let us fully realize them.
If you want to pass, you can. I'll just label you as a narcissist.
Yeah, seriously. All right. I know some weaknesses. Let me try to zoom. I think at like the highest level, a lot of the things that kind of could be defined as weaknesses are due to, I guess, how would I say this? Maybe like an impatience or like rushing things, and I think that that fact about me kind of emerges in a lot of different areas, whether I'm just like rushing the work I'm doing and I make some kind of mistakes, or I'm literally physically rushing and I'm like banging things into walls when I'm supposed to be delicate with it, or if I'm like rushing to form an opinion and I don't kind of take in enough information and I skip a lot just because I'm like always going forward like way too fast. I think that's one weakness. And also I think emotionally too, like I'm very like, I guess volatile internally often. Like I mean, you asked us, are you quick tempered? And I answered something along the lines of like, all my emotions are quick. Like they just like manifest instantly. And I'm like a very intense person. So like everything is intense across the board often. Would you agree with that? I feel yeah. Maybe I'm less
Can you actually think of
external.
another person?
Yes. Okay. So I'm not. Yeah. I'm not. Like I'm not externally intense. Like I'm not intimidating. That's what I'm hearing. But internally, I feel very kind of like intense
Yeah.
energies. Unless if I'm not, but then that's something else. Oh, I don't listen to people. That's another thing. Yeah. But yeah, sometimes people will be talking at me and I'm just not paying attention to them. It's not intentional, but I'll just be like thinking about something and people are just like saying my name over and over again and that's just like not yeah. Okay. I think I've answered that one enough. Some weaknesses.
Yeah.
You want this? No, I'm gonna eat it later.
Did I ask you last time about like the level of variance in your energy level? Did I ask you anything pertaining to that?
Level of variance in my energy, is that what you said?
Yes.
I don't know if you asked me that specifically. Huh? So level of variance in my energy.
Like how much your energy level fluctuates from hour to hour, day to day, possibly longer spans of time. But I'm more focusing on the I'm more focusing on the time span thing.
Um, I don't. I'd say there's definitely a variance there. Shit, I don't know how to answer this one. That one's really hard to answer, actually. I don't like.
Okay.
There's no consistency to that, to like the variance of my energy.
Your,
Sometimes
your consistency is inconsistent.
yeah, kinda. It's hard because lately I've been more consistent. Maybe in the past like year. But like there have been times in my life where it's like it's been incredibly inconsistent, like for months at a time even. Not inconsistent, actually, it's just consistently low for months at a time. So yeah, maybe it's not fluctuating actually. It's consistent either for some period of time low or high. And recently it's been high for like there's always like little bumps in the road, but for the past like year, it's been on the higher side.
Okay. Can you think of anything that you're better than 95% of people at? I don't know if I asked you before.
90.
I feel like I keep thinking I might have when I don't.
No, I don't think so. You just asked me you asked me something along those lines, but not like a quantitative.
Yeah, these are all like the follow-ups I have for it, and there's like no continuity here because I'm skipping over the ones I already asked.
So I don't know if I can answer that as far as like general things. It's more of like certain skills that like I purposely developed, so therefore I'm just better. So I mean, the last
That's
time
fine.
I answered something I was good at that people like complimented me on and things that I thought I was good at was like writing, and I'd say I'm probably better than 95% of people at writing. And then things like, I guess two other things would be, yeah, things that I've just like focused on in my life, like through education or just like whatnot. I mean, I'm probably better than most people at math just because I've been immersed in math for the past like 6, 7, 8 years. So
Yeah,
of course I'm going to be better than most people at that. And then, yeah, so it's stuff like that.
I see the issue with the question now. Like, if you can't say that you're like extremely talented at knowing like the detailed history of Slovakia or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I see what you mean. Oh, hello. If this might like make you feel extra special or something, but I think I think not according to not only the last session, but the statistics I'm getting on this one, you are like especially hard to type. Like you might be split between different type images or something.
Huh.
Although I'm just gonna keep asking for this, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll see where we end up. And I do have some suspicions. It's not quite as clear. Do you think you are complimented more or less often than you deserve?
Complimented?
Yeah.
Um,
I just realized how loaded of a question that is for a public session. Like, if you end up saying you're complimented way less often than you deserve.
yeah. I don't know. Yeah, maybe something's preventing me from answering that honestly, or I just don't have an answer to that.
That's all right.
Normally, I don't feel as if I wish people complimented me more.
Okay.
Like that's not something like, oh, I'm not complimented enough. That's not a thought that comes into my head often. So
I'm finding it hard to imagine the kind of person that would think that often.
yeah, maybe you could like reframe that question into something less obviously like one answer more desirable. I don't know.
I don't know what I was going for with that question anymore.
Right.
What systems, ideas, or experiences have influenced your sense of morality most?
Sense of I don't know if I can pinpoint it to any one or two or three, any kind of small number of things. Just a general, like, just as I learned things, like, through the past 6 years, where I was kind of actively looking for some sort of way to find a moral map. It just kind of, just a conglomeration of all the things I've learned through that has built kind of what I think last time I mentioned that one of the core moral foundations I've arrived at is just the kind of holding the human aspect at giving that the most weight above all else. That's and taking like what humans are kind of what humans are good at and giving that more weight when kind of being held to other variables when determining like what's right and wrong. I mean, like I think like a year, just to get a little more specific, maybe a year or two ago, I spent a lot of time like immersing myself in, I guess, what you could call like leftist YouTube and Twitter and media and just like ideologies, just to, because I think they are very human first focused, and it also just, yeah, it just opened my eyes to a lot of things. Just general learning. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. That is good. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I need to fix this question. I was gonna ask you, would you consider yourself a good person, but I'm not even gonna try that. I think I kind of did it just because I wanted to put people through the pain of being put on the spot that way publicly.
Yeah.
But I think you're just, I don't think it would work in your case because you would just dissect it and explain that back to me.
Okay.
You're perceptive and honest enough to do that. So you're good, I guess. I actually, all of the follow-ups I added for the world government one were at least partially influenced by your answer. So I don't.
Oh, really? That's funny.
Yeah. You gave a good answer to that. It was a lot better than solid. I don't know if you had covered this. I feel like there's a small chance this was something that you covered without me asking. But do you prefer to talk in small groups and large groups?
Small or large groups? Is that what you said?
I agree with this. Okay. Yeah. So I'll rephrase the question. I'll repeat it since. Yeah. I lost my train of thought. Do you prefer to talk in small groups and large groups or one-on-one? Right.
I definitely prefer small groups. I just think I get more, like there's more, like the bigger a group gets, there's some sweet spot. Maybe it's like 3 or 5 or something. The bigger a group gets, like the consistency and like depth of the ideas being discussed kind of gets lost, and it gets, I don't know, the more like people it passes through, like with 3 people or 4 or 5, like this idea kind of bounces along everyone's kind of perspective, and then they add something to it and then spit it back, and you can kind of track that. But with like a huge group, and if everyone's talking at the same time, or if everyone's participating at the same time, I think you kind of like lose, like it's too much where you lose focus. You can just completely lose the initial scope of the original conversation you were having. And especially like some people dominate and some people can't get a word in, which I don't think that's productive. I mean, unless if it's the purpose is that one person is just talking to a big group, and that's what it is, and then maybe like a question and answer format, but it's still one person is kind of guiding the whole direction of the conversation. In that case, it would make sense. But if it's just a free-for-all with like 20 people, I can't see how that would be productive.
I don't know if like an audience and a speaker counts as a group in the traditional sense, but I see.
Okay. Yeah. But no, definitely. If everyone is like inputting equal amounts of information, like through verbal conversation, I prefer it to be small.
Actually,
yeah.
we're all on the same planet, so we're all constantly in a group of 7 billion people.
Oh man. Yeah. Well. Subgroups.
Yes. I think I was going to ask something after that. I don't remember. I might have asked. I don't know. You can broadcast a 60-second message to everyone on Earth. What do you say? Why?
Um, this is going to be this like kind of along the same lines as when you asked me what I would do if I ruled the world. Like I would spend so much time on that message. Like I would not just like wing that. That no way. It would be something, I don't know. I would try to formulate something to.
I can't
That's so hard.
intentionally cause mental pain in you because you just pointed out to me. I think what I'm gonna do is instead of asking me that, I'm gonna say the message starts now, and I'm gonna put like a timer up on the screen.
Wow, that's nuts. All right, let me.
You don't. Obviously, you don't have to recite it. If you just have, you can just tell me your general thoughts on this.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think of. That it's something
Okay.
with the general focus I would go through. I don't know. It would be something along the lines to just tell people to, I guess, evaluate within themselves what they really care about and just align themselves with that. And, you know, to stop reaching for these external sources of like validation, to like look into yourself and also to like the people you love and to engage with them and try to just better yourself and stop worrying about, like as a first step to defining yourself and like what you care about, like start with you and then kind of project that out to what you want to see change in the world or what your vision for the world is. Like how you want to influence. Like define it within you first. Don't just, yeah. That's the very, again, I'd have to work on that, but that's,
yeah. I think maybe in big, oh, it's gone. Sorry.
That's just something I observe is people reach for like external sources of like self-validation and they define themselves externally. And yeah, they're just subject to being manipulated and lied to and just being unhappy because it's not reflective of whatever they want as a human being.
Maybe I'm a bit too pessimistic when I say this, but I feel like if you broadcasted that, there'd be like a lot of like neo-Nazis or something who think that their internal values are reflected by that, and then they would wake up and like do something.
Yeah, and that's the thing with like no one's gonna a 60-minute message to everyone. It's like,
yeah, you can't make them fun.
It takes more than that. So I don't know. I mean, I would say that anyway because I believe it, but I think most people would just ignore it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'd change a few people's minds.
I feel like it'd be more effective to say something like, if you donate money to Give Well or something, then they'll give you twice as much back. Or some like charity or something. I feel like that would be more effective than trying to change their like fundamental ideas. But I see what you're going for, and I get the sentiment, and I like that. Okay. Do you think free will is real? Why or why not?
I guess I don't care if it's real. Like, it feels real. Like it feels real. It's like yeah. I mean, it feels real. Like it feels like I can choose the course of my actions. So I might as well, if it's not real. Yeah, I just don't think it matters. I just don't think it matters.
I actually, I actually think I agree with that.
Like
What's the,
assume it's
oh,
real is my answer to that. Assume that it is real.
yeah.
Like don't just be like, oh, I can't control myself, and then blow up a school or something. I don't know.
I feel like the people who blow up a school think it's a good thing to do. I feel like no one does that out of apathy.
What? I don't know. Sorry.
I feel like no one is like I'm bored. I'm gonna blow up a school for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean that's an exaggeration.
Yeah, I just thought that
Ask
was
Obama.
yeah. What does it mean to you to live a good life?
Um, Probably what I said, what I would say in that message to everyone. That's how I would define a good life. Like a lot of introspection and aligning what you do with what you believe in. But not
Okay.
at that point you brought up about neo-Nazis thinking they believe in like the shit that they believe in. I don't know. Yeah, that definitely threw a wrench in it in a way. Um,
Yeah, like
so maybe,
oh,
so maybe with the caveat that like human beings, like by default, are something to be valued, and it's not like you can separate different categories of people, especially things that they don't necessarily control or that they are not yet able to control. Like you can't just say that they're lesser and that you can do away with, they can throw them away or whatever you want to do. So that caveat has to be there.
I hate to be critical, but I feel like this has been reduced to like believe in what you fundamentally believe in.
What are you doing in there?
Say that again.
I said I hate to be critical, but I feel like this has been reduced to believe in what you fundamentally believe in, unless it's bad.
More so, not necessarily believe in, but like live your life in line with those things.
Yeah.
Yes, but unless it's,
I didn't phrase it perfectly, but I think you sort of got the point.
I mean that it's because, I mean yeah, defining.
Like it feels sort of I just think it's kind of funny because you sort of like threw a band-aid on this very overarching idea.
Yeah, it could use some work. It could use some work.
Value, and then you're like, unless you like a Nazi or racist or something like that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stop. Sorry. Well, how do you plan to attain this? And by this I mean like your answer to my previous question, which I don't know how to succinctly relay back to you.
how do I plan to attain it?
How do you plan to attain what you consider to be a good life, which you do it just listening?
Yeah, I think I mean, for me, and I think anyone, I think it would be the same path that anyone would do. It'd be a lot of, I mean, basically just not giving up on, like, reflecting on yourself and what you care about, and just always, I think, just always staying open to information and learning, like continuous learning and understanding, and just like because when you stop like reflecting on this internally and you start reaching for just kind of blindly reaching for external ways to define how to live your life, that's when you're not living your own life anymore. You're just living the life that's been defined elsewhere. But at the end of the day, like, you are the one that defines what is good. And I mean, I don't know, for me personally, it's kind of the aspect, I think I mentioned this earlier, the aspects of like what like separates human beings from everything else. I guess, which falls in line with like our cognitive and emotional abilities that you would see in like fiction, but we don't see immediate, like an aliens in fiction or something, but immediately around us, like that's what sets us apart from like animals, for instance. So basically building up, for me, it would be building upon those aspects.
Okay. I see. What would you consider to be the biggest waste of human potential?
Say that again?
What would you consider to be the biggest waste of human potential?
I don't know the biggest, but it kind of goes back around to that again. Like, not like potential is something that someone needs to find within themselves and kind of bring it to fruition, rather than reaching for something else to kind of latch onto.
Okay.
I don't know, like, biggest waste. So, I mean, that is a waste. I don't know how to define the biggest.
Okay.
These are just things I observe. Like,
Yeah.
I see, I mean, because, yeah, everyone has potential to just become, maybe this is too overly positive, but I want to believe that every person, if they could become the best versions of themselves, then everyone would be like roughly in line with how they want, like the direction of like humanity to go. Like, anyone becoming the best, like honestly becoming the best versions of themselves would say, like, for instance, not be interested in like destroying humanity. Like, I think people are just like kind of being dragged away from their internal path by I don't know how these external things arose, but I don't know.
I see what you mean.
Some people could be literally evil, and then that that is their potential, is to be like super evil. That would suck, but maybe that's true as well. I don't know what to do with those people in that case.
When all of your talents are just being evil, and also all of your talents and all of your passions. Although
Yeah, that'd be a bummer.
I don't think. You know what? I was gonna say that I don't think. I was gonna say that I don't think anyone truly is evil and considers themselves to be so, but I feel like there are so many possible exceptions here that I can't even make a claim that bold.
Yeah.
Is hierarchy necessary to establish a successful society?
Probably, because it's just a pretty useful, necessary. I don't know, but it's definitely would be very useful, because we use hierarchies to, as a tool to help us organize lots of things. So but I don't know, maybe not. I don't know if it would be absolutely necessary. I can't see why it wouldn't be useful, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you personally prefer participating in hierarchy, especially relative to how much the average person does? Or would you sacrifice stability for independence, if that makes sense as a question?
I don't think, I mean, there are a lot of areas you can be independent while still participating in a hierarchy. I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't mind participating in hierarchies where it just makes sense. Like, I think the easiest example is like at a job, like reporting to someone who just has a lot of knowledge and experience, and kind of, yeah, like being a tier down below the hierarchy from them. It just makes sense because they'll be able to give you that kind of define like the bigger picture, and then you execute these things like per that big picture that they've created. In that, that's just the benefit of that hierarchy. But I don't feel you are sacrificing a little bit of independence there in that within that scope, in that you're not defining the direction. You're kind of at the mercy of that upper section of the hierarchy. But go back to the question: do I participate more or less? Because I do value independence a lot, but I'm not so naive to think that I can just do everything on my own. I don't mind for the time being kind of being subjected to a hierarchy in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually do think that was a bad question now. Yeah, so, sorry for like the holes in some of the questions. I'm sort of using you and a few others as like testing for the expanded questionnaire, and they also wrote all of these in like one day in a cafe.
I enjoy the questions, so I don't.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad you enjoyed them. What is your routine on an average weekday?
I don't. This is something I've noticed. I'm pretty bad with routines, or I guess defining them for myself.
Okay, well,
It's kind of. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I would just like to clarify. I didn't phrase that perfectly. I didn't necessarily mean a strict formal routine where a given thing is done at a set time, but just like how you spend your time.
Things that I might do on a given day, like on average. You mean?
Yeah, it's just kind of hard. It's just kind of harder to. I couldn't think of a good way to put that into words.
Well, on a weekday, I usually have to go to work, so that does kind of define some sort of like temporal routine. But I mean, even then, I sort of show up within a 2-hour window. So even then, I'm not even on a routine. And then
Are you criticized for that?
No, because I mean, I like do my job. I think that's all they care about. Anyone reasonable, this would be like if you do your job, and obviously I'm not going to skip a meeting that's early in the morning because I'm like, oh, I'm going to come in and at 10 because I feel like it like within reason. I mean, if I come in at like 10 and do my job, yeah, again, anyone reasonable would criticize that. What's that?
I think I'm too jaded by the school system.
So yeah, I guess on a weekday work, just like going to my job, that's kind of just a given. And then after that, I kind of just do those things that I listed as my interests. I'll just usually do those. I'll look at Discord.
It's not wrong.
Yeah, is it still going?
What?
Is it still going? Like, am I?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what you see on your end, so I assume that you saw what it was.
I just see you, so it's a good sign.
Yeah, I only know what it looks like from the host's side.
Yeah.
Did you have anything more to say on that before you stopped existing?
I don't know what we were talking about.
We can just move past it. I don't think it matters that much.
All right.
Okay, what is your instead of routine, time allocation algorithm on an average weekend?
Sorry, hold on.
Okay.
Say that again.
What is the algorithm or process or whatever by which you allocate time on a weekend? Since I guess routine did not describe it very well.
Sorry, you broke up again. So you're saying what is the
How do you
process by which?
how do you spend? How does your time end up being spent on a weekend?
On the weekend? So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's my connection that's bad.
It's alright.
I don't. Yeah, I don't really have a process for it for what I do on the weekend. It's the same as the weekday, though. It's the same as the
Process
weekday.
is also a bad.
My answer is the same as the weekday, except usually I don't have to work on the weekend,
The,
so I'm
the
just
only-
engaging.
I asked because the only thing I remember hearing about on for the weekday part was about work.
Oh, maybe I should go back to. So when I'm not, yeah. So work is something that I just have to do.
Yes. How does time end up being?
I mean, I technically I choose to do it too. I don't have to go to work, but I do.
I get the.
But that's just kind of like a constant thing that I have a little less control over. But yeah, I was saying, so like when I'm not at work, I'm engaging in those activities and interests that I mentioned before. Like recently, whether that be like going on Discord or some other interests. I guess I didn't mention. I like listening to music. I did mention that I.
It's gone. Hello.
Am I back?
Yeah. Luckily, I'm
Right.
very constant here, so it doesn't end the screen.
Yeah, it must be my connection. That's really annoying. All right.
It's alright. I don't. At least it didn't split up this much. Would you like to continue elaborating on that, or would you like to just totally move past that? Because I'm starting to get like the impression that this question was cursed.
Yeah, maybe we should just move past it.
Okay. Whatever higher power may exist really doesn't want you to answer that question.
Yeah, clearly.
I'm not gonna ask that question. Shit. When you feel disrespected or violated, how do you generally respond? Did I ask you that?
How do I what?
I don't know if I asked you this, but when you feel disrespected or violated, how do you generally respond?
Holy shit. My internet must be so bad. I don't know what to do about it. Can you just repeat it again?
Let me see if I'm. Okay. When you feel disrespected or violated, how do you generally respond?
Disrespected.
Being intentionally vague there, so it would be open to a different interpretation.
Oh, now you're just really quiet.
Just hold the mic. Am I less quiet now?
What?
I asked if I'm less quiet now, but evidently not. The stream is cursed.
I think my roommates are just downloading like terabytes of 4K porn right now, so struggling. That's the only explanation, clearly.
Go yell at them to stop downloading 4K porn. Do you think that this is going to be sustainable, or would you like to somehow like postpone the rest of this? Because if this isn't viable, we can do that.
Yeah, if it happens again, let me try to. If it happens again, I'll try to solve the technical difficulty, whatever's causing it, at least. And then maybe postpone or just whatever, because it is pretty annoying.
Yeah,
but give it one more go.
I'm gonna send the question that I was asking into the chat, and if the lack of internet stops you from getting that, then I genuinely think you're cursed.
No, I see your message, although I didn't hear whatever you said. Honestly, I think it's just fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just cut it off for now. It's so fucked up. I don't know why.
But to be fair, you weren't supposed to like hear it in any sense. I just sent it in here. But okay. Yeah, we can end this and we can finish it whenever you are able.
Yeah, let's just finish it later.
Okay.
All right.
I didn't even change your name. I'm an idiot.
Actually, hold on. It's just became clear again. I'll give him one more chance. All of a sudden, it just cleared up.
Higher power is taunting us.
Yeah, sir.
Okay. Do you know what the question is, or did something stop that from happening?
Yeah, I'm still thinking about this.
Okay.
Feeling disrespected thing. Disrespected. I'm just having trouble with it. I guess I don't feel disrespected very often.
Yeah. My God. I'm ending it by having. I'm continuing this later.